Hi guys, welcome to a new episode of the Arsenal Way podcast with me, Samrid and Ashwin. As for our regular watchers, we're on YouTube. We're a brand new channel. We're on pretty much all social media channels. We're on Twitter at the Arsenal Way. We have a Facebook page. Like, subscribe to our channel. Tweet us with your thoughts on yesterday's game, and how do you think the remaining of the season will go. Ashwin, uh, well, clearly my prediction of us having hopefully nicking a win or drawing wasn't didn't come true. You were right per usual in terms of our predictions of us getting walked all over. Having said that, I thought and before we get into the game, what were your thoughts on the lineup when it first came out? I didn't think I did well. I don't think either one of us were expecting that lineup to come out.
I think when you and me predicted the lineups, none of us ever thought that was going to come up, right? Like it was literally like people were joking like 10 minutes before the lineups came up, saying that what Arsenal meltdown could happen in like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and it was literally that. I mean, Arteta shocked the world with it. By you have our most expensive player our most expensive signing sitting on the bench in Pepe. You have Martinelli, who's done so well, shown throughout the season. I remember when Aubameyang had that red card, and when Martinelli stepped in and played those 3 games for him. That goal against Chelsea, he was phenomenal. I don't know why he's not getting a chance. I can understand Lacazette. Lacazette's not been the best in terms of he's not going through his purple patch of goals. Ozil not finding a spot in a team of 20. I understand if you're limited to 15, but Ozil not finding a space in a 20-man squad and being cited as a tactical reason is shocking. See, I understand. I know what Atara is trying to do. They say don't air your dirty laundry in public. He wants to keep it in house. He doesn't want doesn't want to spread it. But someone needs to come out and give us the truth. Um, Ozil was not being picked by Wenger. Back pain. Uh, as much as we hated Emery, Emery didn't pick Ozil. Freddie didn't pick Ozil. Arteta picked Ozil for his first 10 games. We all thought that the old Ozil's back. Suddenly we come back and Ozil's not there. And I think 10 minutes before the lineups came up, Ozil tweeted saying that, time to go or something. He came up with an Instagram post saying time to go and let's go and come on, you Gunners and all. So it was a strange kind of scenario for me to not see him in a squad of 20. So we need an explanation as to what is happening. Do we need to get rid of him? Are we because to have a person who's getting paid 350k a week and to not even make of the first 20 is shocking. Um, I don't know what it is. Fair play to Arteta if he thinks that Ozil's not putting in the shift, or maybe there were rumors coming out from the Athletic saying that that Arteta had basically called for a team meeting, and a few players basically said that they can't make the meeting, and Arteta got really upset. So there were rumors doing the rounds that maybe those players, one of those included Ozil, which is why he got upset. There were also rumors citing at the start that when Arsenal players were made to asked to take a pay cut to help pay for the staff, there were a few players that said no. So again, there were rumors doing the round saying that maybe Ozil is the one that is not agreed to take a pay cut. See, it's all speculation. We don't know what's happening the ins and outs. But shocking lineup. I remember messaging you straight away saying that what is this lineup, and you were shocked as well, and none of us could believe it. But like you said, uh, we were we were fine till injury hit us.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
I think we were even despite Xhaka going off and Mari going off, I thought we looked reasonably okay in the first half an hour at least, because we had a couple of chances on the break. Tierney could have spotted Aubameyang at least twice. I think he didn't. He was there. He could have made the run and he didn't release him. Um, there was in Ketia had a couple of times when he just burst through, but he was then brought down. Which Anthony Taylor, being Anthony Taylor, his incompetence shown through, and he didn't give us the foul when it was very clearly he was being manhandled and with short being tugged and didn't get called. The same thing happened with us, and I think it was, I forget who was it, Guendouzi who got booked, or was it Willock who got booked? I forget. Um, but the goal, I mean, it's Luiz not starting. I mean, again, Luiz was also talked with his contractual issues that have been having. That we got to know post match that he was been thinking about. He blamed that he was maybe mentally not there, and maybe that's why that I didn't sign him. Maybe that's a sign that he doesn't want to start people who are just not there, who don't really want a part to play um, with the club moving forward. And I get that. The point still remains that he was brought on, and for someone as experienced as Luiz, you would expect a player at this level to not to deal with that very comfortably.
Sunday league
I
mistakes.
get it. Maybe, I mean, you could still say that. Okay, maybe I'm playing devil's advocate here, and I'm saying that maybe it was the rain, maybe the pitch was really slippery. But he's been in England for a while now. He should know how to deal with those conditions. Um, Sterling, who was having a quiet game until then, just I remember, I think a couple of minutes before he lobbed Leno from about 10 yards out, and I was like, okay, maybe this is not his game, because he's not his 2020 has been pretty bad. He's not scored in the last 13. Um, and then Luiz's mistake and Sterling's right there to capitalize. The second goal, I mean, that just compounded everything that can go wrong, will go wrong. Luiz is responsible once again, bringing him down, and then getting sent off to boot, which I thought was harsh. But I, yeah, it was just a calamitous first 50 minutes. I actually thought if we go into the break without having conceded, we'd be okay. But to concede so early in the second half, and well, pretty much on either side of halftime, um, it just it just literally just like the wind just went from our sails. It was just, I think everybody knew that the game's done. Um, and I mean, like I wanna know, like, Auba hasn't scored against City. I think since he's come in, I think was what the stat was. And for a player who's looking at maybe a final big contract towards towards the end of his career, didn't really seem like someone who was in the game or wanted to be in the game. Okay, maybe you could say that he should have played in the center, and then Ketia could have been wouldn't have started. You could have Martinelli on the left, or however you want to have that game. Saka could have maybe played on the left instead of moving on the right. Um, the point remains that he didn't look very interested. He was very reminiscent of Sanchez towards the end of his Arsenal career. He just didn't want to be there. It seems like, and I have serious questions, not of Arteta as much, because I'll still give him a pass right now. I have serious reservations and questions now with the people who are running this club. What are the likes of Josh Kroenke, Edu, Don Raul doing at this point? You've read, you've given out bad, expensive contracts to players just because you're friends with their agents. What is Luis has pocketed 24 million over the last year, and you still haven't signed him on an extension. Saka, who's probably your one of the most exciting prospects to come out of the club in years, and you still haven't closed that. You've let Auba's contract run down to his last year when he very categorically came out and said that Ramsey will be the last player who will leave on a free. Players will no longer be allowed to leave on a free. You've signed Suarez, who hasn't played, and you're paying salaries there. I mean, you talked about Ozil maybe having an influence. I'm sorry, but today his latest Instagram post or his Twitter post is just in bad taste now. I mean, it's Emery 2.0 again. It's don't do it. It's like people see through. I mean, there's only so much. Like you and I are huge fans of Ozil, and we think that he brings a lot as a personality and as a player. But it just seems now that it's just tiresome. It's an albatross around our neck. We're not getting rid of him. We can't get rid of him because no one's gonna pay that much of his salary. I don't know. I don't want to get into whether he wanted to take a pay cut. It's not something I know enough about. But just optically, it's just not a good look anymore. We're hamstrung by this contract, and quite honestly, I think it's time to cut ties, take a hit, get just rid of it, just get, I don't know, figure it out. What needs to be done, but it's about time that fingers are pointed towards the people who are running this club. And it's not, no matter how bad Emery was or how much ever time we give to Arteta, if we don't figure out how to run this club properly, this is going to continue, and we're now stagnating. We are where we are because we deserve to be there. There's no other reason. We are not a top six club anymore. We cannot keep living in our past on how great we are because 13 titles, whatever. All that bullshit is fine, but the point still remains: there's no matter how big a club you are, if you don't run it properly. Look at Chelsea. I get it. They've saved money. They've got players. They've got money from there to from Hazard and whatnot. The point still remains: you have to run the club in a way that will set us up for some level of success for anyone who's coming on board. Be that, I'm sure you have Pep in this situation. He's not going to do anything. He can't do anything with the way this club is running at this point.
Before I
So I
even
don't
get
know
in,
anymore. It's
yeah, before I get into the Oba talks, I have something that really doesn't fill me up with confidence. You spoke about Luiz coming up with his post-match talk, and what I got from that was basically for him to come out. Okay, for him to come and own up was great, but it's something that, like you mentioned, as a 33-year-old, he shouldn't be making those mistakes. It was like Sunday League defending. For him to come out and say that this was my fault, I should have got it sorted. And when Jeff Reeves asked him what should you have got sorted, he said my contract. He said in the last 2 months I should have got it sorted. So for a professional player who's 33, been there, done it all, for him to come and get distracted by his contract and put in the performance that he did yesterday and make us lose a game that we were not in a position. Okay, technically City were dominating towards the end of the half because their technical quality was much better, which is what we spoke about, saying that, you know what, even if the two teams are not up to speed, because they're technically better players, they will end up winning the game. But yeah, but Leno kept us in the game. But it was David Luiz who made the two massive errors which deflated us completely. Right now, after that, I thought that David Luiz is done for us. Like, he's got a 3-match ban. He's got 14 days left if he's not renewing his contract, and that's it. We're never going to see him again. But then Arteta came out with an interview after that, and Arteta said, "I want to keep David Luiz, right?" And he said he likes the player, he wants him to stay, and he wants this contract talks to get sorted fast. Now, what doesn't fill me up with confidence is, why would, if he's good, I mean, if he's a good person to have around the dressing room, keep him as a coach. You can't. I mean, he's conceded 4 penalties this year, and he's been sent off twice. He's done it against Liverpool at Anfield. He pulled down Salah. He did it against Tammy Abrams at Chelsea. Got sent off as well. They got a penalty there. Did it against Watford, and now he's done it against City. Given a penalty and got sent off. As it is, we were 1-0 down. It's a massive mountain to climb when you're playing against a team like City. On top of that, if you're going to give away a penalty and get sent off and get sent down to 10 men, I don't know what that is. It feels like, you know what, it's been what, like now 20 years since we were watching the club, that every year it's just the same excuses that we roll over and over again. We have that hope saying that, you know what, we're going to do well, we're doing this, we're doing that. But at the end of the day, it's the same thing. Like, people, like, I have supporters from competitor clubs tweeting last night saying that, you know what, new season, new manager, same old Arsenal. And same, they know that it's just up for us to accept and agree that, admit that, you know what, we're not a top 4, top 6 club anymore, we're a mediocre club. And you hit the nail on the head saying that this has to be sorted by the management. What is Don Raul doing? We signed David Luiz for 8 million with his salaries and everything. For a year, it came up to 24 million. What sort of business is that? Wenger had a policy of not buying anybody or paying people or giving them contracts for above the age of 30. We've signed a 32-year-old, given him 8 million. I mean, sign him for 8 million, given him that thing. We should have known as soon as possible that Chelsea and Frank Lampard were absolutely fine parting ways with Luiz. And sure, this has a lot to do with how Koscielny went away, and this was something that we didn't plan for, and we had to make a last-ditch signing. But you need to have contingencies in place for some things like this to happen, right? Uh, anyway, getting to Oba, another thing is, he turned 31 today. Do we really want to give a contract to? I mean, he's the best player right now. I want him to stay, but do we really want to pay somebody 300k or 350k a week or whatever he's asking for, and play him on the left side of our attack with a 20-year-old Eddie Nketiah playing center striker? Why would anybody want? Why would Aubameyang himself want to sign a contract and say that, you know what, I want to stay and this is where I think I'm going to I'm going to win trophies? Why would you not want to say that, you know what, this is the last spell of my years. I have a one final contract that I can get. I can go to a bigger club, win some trophies, and retire. Why would you not want to do that? So for me, after yesterday's performance, I think you're right. It did seem like a bit like Alexis, where he didn't look interested, but it had a lot to do with us not being able to keep the ball and us not being able to supply him the ball. Right now, he's very different. Like somebody like a Thierry Henry or a Van Persie would do a lot more off the ball than what Aubameyang does. But if you don't feed Aubameyang the ball, he kind of seems like he's not in the game. And yeah, there were two times when either one Tierney and one Nketiah should have played him through, where he was basically one on one with Kyle Walker, and he had him beat by, on, like, I think on a running race he would have had him beat. But we didn't spot him. We didn't take those chances. The injuries didn't help. And it's just the same thing over and over again. Every year we talk about the same thing. We come to this part of the season where we play a big team. We say, "Oh, bad luck with injuries," but it's the same thing. The last time we went away to a big side, a top six side, and beat them away was 2015 when Santi Cazorla was there, when he once scored us that penalty and the Giroud got that goal from his assist. After that, we've not beaten a top six side away from home. 2015 was the last time we beat them. So I don't know if it's the mentality of the players or it's just that we can't do it anymore. But something needs to be sorted out because we're just we're average, and if we don't invest, which I think we won't invest, I don't think we have the money because of FF. I mean, I know they're relaxing financial fair play, but with the whole COVID situation and everything, unless Kroenke wants to dip into his pocket and give us some money, I think we're going to struggle. We're going to probably become at 7, 8 is best what we can expect to finish this year and next year.
I mean, I'd completely forgotten. You're right. Oba turns 31, and you're right. Does it make sense to give a 31-year-old a big contract and then be hamstrung with finances, especially when we have no hopes of qualifying for the Champions League this or next season? Um, I say cut the cord, get rid. Give If you don't have finances, then generate funds from selling players. Not, I don't think Ainsley Maitland-Niles is anywhere in Arteta's plans. Get rid of him. Get rid of Oba. Get rid of Luiz. Uh, get rid of Lacazette if required. Um, Build around people who at least are going to be there and will contribute, who've been good, honest players. I think, can we do better than Xhaka? Yes. Can we do better than Torreira? Yes. Um, Find players who will give you value. These are the guys who haven't had the best of Arsenal careers, but you need to give. If it means tearing it all down and building from scratch, do it. If we don't get the Europa League, that's fine. But you have to start building from scratch somewhere. This entire squad is just like, I don't remember how many times you and I have spoken about this, that this squad is just good on paper, and these are names that have the talent, but just the application is not there, and it's come to a point now where it's not even infuriating. Like, I was talking to someone today, and I told him, like, I think I'm more in love with the idea of what Arsenal is than actually watching Arsenal. Um, and that's what it's come down to, because what about us has been fun since Emery's come on board, or even let me go further back. What about us has been fun over the last 5 years? It's disappointing to us to watch us play. It's disappointing how towards last few years of Wenger being around. So I think we're coming up on what, 6 years now of us just having the same conversation over and over again, and nothing really seems to change. It's always rebuilding. It's always the management. It's always the players, and I just don't know what about it needs to change anymore, because we've had a change of management, we've had a change of manager, we've had two changes of manager, and this doesn't seem to work. You've had a whole bunch of players now that have just gone out the door and come back in, and we're still the same, which means that there's something that's just that there's a malaise that just refuses to go away, and there's not much more that us as fans can do, except we will continue to watch the Arsenal play. But the point still remains that there have been times where match going fans that just don't want to, like, they'll renew the ticket just because they want their seat, but they just don't go. Do you really want it to be a situation come next year when the season starts, you have half an empty stadium like we did when we lost 3-0 to City and then again lost to them at home, which was pretty much the end of Arsenal's reign. Um, and I don't get the fact that why do players like Ozil, who just, and I get it that he's got the talent and he's been unfairly treated, but you cannot think that you are bigger than the club. You're not bigger than the club, and you have fans who still back him for his antics. Like now, like today's post was, it infuriated me. I was like, are you serious? Really, you want to go? You want to start this shit up again? Um, wh- you cannot you cannot tell me that your most influential player, be it because of marketing or your most expensively played player, is dropped because of tactical reasons. Are you really telling me that Oba has, sorry, Mesut doesn't have the ability to pick a pass while Willock has? Like you started a midfield of Willock and Guendouzi. Yes, and Guendouzi has had problems with Arteta over the last 6 months. Disciplinary problems. Willock's been has been blowing hot, blowing cold. Xhaka has had problems with the fans. He's not. I don't think he's. I don't know what's going to happen with him. Doesn't want to be here. Uh, so I just don't know. I mean, don't even get me started on the back line. You have Mustafi, who's just not been great. Like, and that's the whole point. Like, our recruitment policy, our management policy of finding players who just mediocre, and and not even paying for what they're worth. We're paying more than what they're actually worth. It was Mustafi really a 35 million pound signing? Really, you couldn't have done better than that. You couldn't have done better than a Luiz. You couldn't have done better than a Socrates. Are you really telling me that? Like, what happened to us finding the likes of a Koscielny or a Mertesacker, who was very underrated? But of course, because it is the English league, you need someone who's fast and who's pacey and who's bulky and who puts in it, who really gets in, and that's not how it works. Like Van Dijk was someone I'm sure you've seen that list of players that we've almost signed. How many summers do we go through with looking at players who Arsenal almost signed? So it's like it's come to a point where it's not on the players. It's on the players, yes, but similar questions need to be asked of of the people running this club. Um, and I don't know where we go from here. I mean, we have Brighton on Saturday, I think. I don't know. I don't think we're going to beat Brighton, Ashwin. I think Brighton is a very tough place to go, and get a win. Um, I don't know what the starting eleven is going to be there. I don't know whether we're going to turn up or not, because I again, like I said, for me, the idea of watching Arsenal is more fun than actually watching Arsenal. So yeah, that's where I'm at with this situation currently.
Just
It's
before we get into the Brighton game, I want to quickly take you through the ratings for the game yesterday.
mhm.
Start with Leno. What you going to rate him?
I mean, I'll just subtract the points for the goals he conceded.
It's
But
not his
if
fault though.
it was, it's not his fault, and only for that I'd probably give him an 8. Because no, you can't give him a perfect score, but I'd probably give him an 8 yesterday.
Bellerin.
Belton didn't have a good game. I don't think he had a very good game yesterday. Maybe okay, I'd still give him. He's coming back from an injury, so I'd probably give the fullback spot about a 5.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about it, and only
So
because they're both coming back from injury.
both.
Still thought, actually, you know what? I give Kieran a 6 and Belden a 5.
Yeah, I thought
Because I thought Kieran had a good game.
Tierney did well, and then when he moved back to centre back, I think he adjusted to that position well enough, and he did well there
Yeah,
as well. Okay. Centre backs, Mustafi and Murray.
Murray was too short to have done anything, but he doesn't look comfortable on the ball. He seems a step too slow.
Ah,
There was a tackle that he did right on the edge of the box. I think it was De Bruyne. I think in the 5th minute or 10th minute or whatever.
Sterling.
Um, yeah, Sterling. I think he looks a little slow. Second game starting, I don't know. I think probably give him a 4, but he was too short a time to be on to
Uh,
have. everything.
I thought Murray was fine. I thought he controlled the game well till he was there. Okay, he misjudged one
Mm.
challenge, which I felt was 50-50. I don't think it was really a foul that you could have probably gone either way. But I don't think Murray was that bad. It was just we were just really unlucky that he had to go off with an injury.
Mm.
Mustafi,
Mustafi,
I felt he was a good defender. He was our best defender yesterday. He didn't put a foot wrong, considering considering what we've been known for, what Mustafi is known for. I felt he had a decent game.
well, I'll take your word for it. I'll go with the same rating that you're giving. I'm not. I wasn't a big fan yesterday of. I've never been of. I've stopped trusting Mustafi again. It's he's a mistake waiting to happen. Um, but yes, I mean, I'll probably give him a 6 then, and not as far as generous as I'll be with him.
Mm-hmm. Guendouzi
Guendouzi, I think he had a good start, but sort of faded away.
got
Same with
overrun in
Willock.
midfield.
Yeah,
I
yeah, sort
mean,
of faded away. I probably both give them a 5.
I think what I was reading somewhere, somebody put up a good post which I think didn't get enough credit. If you actually see, Shaka and Murray are both left-footed players,
Yeah.
and as soon as the two of them got injured, we didn't really have that outlet pass to Aubameyang. If you notice, a lot of times when Auba makes those runs behind the defenders, it's these guys who pick up the pass or expect them because it's easier for a left-footer to play those balls in. I think that would have been the game plan. Having Xhaka not being there was a massive miss for us. Even though before the game we were saying that, oh my God, Xhaka Guendouzi midfield is not going to be the strongest. But I think missing Xhaka this season, at least under Arteta, Xhaka's really improved and he's been really good. So I think we really missed him a lot. But you're right. Once City got in their groove, they absolutely dominated midfield and completely took over. I mean, Guendouzi had a great game, but he couldn't handle it himself. It was basically 3 versus 1, and he couldn't do it himself. Ceballos,
4, I think.
I thought he started off
Didn't
well
do
as well.
enough to make
Yeah,
didn't do enough to make any sort of an impact. And I don't know. I don't get Sabias. He seems. I don't know what to make of him. I don't think he's worth the money that. I'm glad we're not signing him. I don't think he's.
I'm reading conflicting reports. The one reports that say that Arsenal want to extend his loan deal because Madrid don't want him there, so they're okay with the loan deal. I read another report where he basically said he wants to go back to Spain and play in a team for Spain, somewhere either at Valencia or so. I don't know.
I don't know what to make of him. I think he's been also he's had his injury issues. I get that, but outside of that Burnley game, can you really think of anything else that he's done? I don't think so.
Fair enough. So about 4-5.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah. Milik
Willock and Guendouzi both 5s.
didn't really do anything. I feel the thing is Joe Willock has the energy, he has everything in him. It's just that these games are too big for him for us to like really thrust him in there. Uh, he tries. I feel that he tries too much, a little too much to impress, and sometimes it's just easier to just keep it simple and just let it tick on and let somebody else take the limelight. I feel it'll probably come with a little more experience, but at the moment, I would have rather have Ozil over there because I'm sure those two balls that we were talking about that Aubameyang should have been played through, Ozil would have played them with his eyes shut. He would have found Aubameyang with his eyes shut there. So yeah, another 4-5 for Willick there. Abba,
4.
that's fair.
Oba 4, Eddie about the same. I'd give Saka a 6 because I thought he did pretty well. And I'm only giving Saka 6 because of I think he was probably the most imaginative of the front three that we had.
But you know what
Um,
really got to me was that Saka's done so well at left back or on the left hand side. We initially the first half of the game we did really well to get the ball to the wide men. But every time the wide man got the ball was on the wrong foot. Oba with the right foot having to cut back and cross the ball. Same thing for Saka as well, right? Having to cut back and cross the ball with his left foot. I don't know why he didn't swap the two. Why didn't he push? Okay, I know Oba stronger on the left and he's scored more goals from the left. But playing Saka there completely negated whatever good work that we built up for Saka this year. So I don't know, like a 5 and 6 seems fair. For the substitutions, I don't think we. I don't even want to get into Luiz. Doesn't make sense. I'm going to just go straight into Arteta. What did you rate the manager yesterday?
Uh, Look, I think assuming he had his 11 playing yesterday, I thought it was a bold lineup. I think I think catered around surprising Pep, and I think we did pretty okay. Until now that you mention it, both the left-footed players, Murray and Xhaka, getting injured and going off sort of threw a spanner into his game plan. Um, but for the way that this Louis situation is panning out, for the way um, everything else is happening, I thought he was his inexperience shown through yesterday. I think it's a bridge too far. I think we'd probably still compete against the likes of a Chelsea or United. Um, I think the likes of Liverpool City are, anyways, really tough places to go to and win. But I think his inexperience shone through yesterday. Not that I was of course taken aback by the line of starting 11, but I think there's a gulf in class there, very evident. I'd probably give him a 5
I
because I
think
thought
you're
we did reasonably well.
yeah. Like you saying that it was a bold decision was true. I think props to Arteta for trying something different and not going with the star names, trying to mix it up. Putting in players, giving players a chance who deserve it more than the big name players. But yeah, again, uh, playing them against a team like City, where they're technically way more superior than where we are right now, was tough. We are going to have We are going to have a few games in the 9 games that are remaining where the opponents are going to be a little easier, where you can test them. But against City, I think yesterday was a little too far, and we struggled. So I think giving Arteta a 5 was fair. There will be better days. I hope we have like a day rest, and then again the team plays on Saturday. So like I hope we can get this out of their minds and quickly get them back for the game, because I'm pretty sure this is going to weigh on a lot of them, because 3 months of hard work for them to come back and prep for this game for so long. We've gone 100 days without football, and to come back and have the same old Arsenal show up. Like we've spoken about mentality before, and like how fragile it is, like how your confidence can just crash instantly even if you're doing well. Like we were the only team in the Premier League unbeaten in 2020, and you knew it was not going to last too long with the way we were. I mean, with City coming up, and but anyway, that was it. I think City was too far for us to beat. Anyway, I mean, I I predicted a loss, and I'm still upset even though I knew we were going to lose, because we genuinely did decently in the first half till that Luiz mistake. That 25 minute spell is what cost us, and we've discussed this many times before, that we've gone to so many places against the big six before, and we end up just losing that little bit of awareness, and that cost us the game. And I'm sure this is going to keep happening till the time we get it right. But let's hope we get it done soon. And yeah, that was the game. We have one coming up on Saturday against Brighton, and like you've already mentioned, going to Brighton away is not going to be easy, especially after the game we had on Wednesday. So just before I get into Brighton, I'm going to dare you to predict a lineup and get it right as per, because we have no idea what he's going to set up. So what are your predictions going to be for the game, and who you think are we going to line up with against Brighton?
I I genuinely don't know anymore, Ashwin. There's a part of me that wants to think that maybe because we've got I think what 5 games in 15 days, it's a game every 3 days. He's gonna shuffle it around. I don't know. I don't think. I think I have a sneaky feeling he's might put out a stronger squad than this, because we need the points, and the next 3 games are winnable. Um, I don't know. I don't have an answer for you. outside of Leno who keeps his place. Outside of
So
Leno who keeps his place, we don't know what the do we know the status of Xhaka and Mari? How long they're out for? Are they any updates on that?
so
I think
none,
tomorrow, right?
none so far. But centre back options were really thin right now. So Socrates is injured, Murray is injured, Luiz has a red card. So the only two fit centre backs right now are actually Holding and Mustafi.
Mustafi.
Yeah, and unless Holding doesn't play, the only other option is to play Tierney at centre back again, play Saka at left back, and start with Bellerin at the back. That's what I can think of. I don't really know what we can play.
I mean, with Xhaka out, you would expect that role to be filled in by Ceballos now. So I think it'd probably be Ceballos, Guendouzi, dare I say Ozil? I don't know, but I think Pepe will get a game. I don't think Nketiah had the best games. I think it probably I think it'll be Martinelli, Auba, and Pepe up front on Saturday again. Uh, just because he needs a rotation and he needs Auba, he needs his main striker to play where he's supposed to.
I think
I
the
think
front.
they probably switch between Martinelli and Auba. Those two will keep switching, but I think Pepe will probably get a game. But
Uh,
if because Saka will if Tierney plays centre half, then Saka will move to left back. Um,
I
so
have a
yeah,
feeling. I have a feeling the front three are going to probably be Oba, uh, Eddie, and Reese Nelson. I think he really likes Reese Nelson, and I think Reese Nelson can give him a little more than what Pepe can give him at the moment. But I think that's the front three. There's another tweet I actually saw, which was really interesting, was that our best front three was actually Martinelli, Oba, and Pepe. Which when Freddie took charge, and again we went away to West Ham, and I think that was like our first or second away win in the season, and those three did really well. I don't know why we're not trying something like that. Why are we wasting Oba on the left? I know he scores more goals there, but is Lacazette good enough to come back in? What are the thoughts? Are we going to sell him? No idea. I mean, it's like you mentioned, it's unpredictable with the way um, Arteta has been setting up right now. Big question is, does Ozil make the 20?
I don't know. Which is what I'm saying. He's doing the same thing he did with Emery, and Arteta is not the same beast. He knows the club. He's been there. He's won things with us. He is he is Arsene light, I guess you could say. Um, and Arsene had a way of dealing with players. I think Arteta is not from that school of thought. I think he will let players know what their status is in the in the squad as well as in the club. He's always maintained that no player is bigger than the club, and if you don't want to be here, you don't need to be here. Uh, he said also that yeah, I don't need to convince players to come and join Arsenal. It's Arsenal Football Club, and if that in itself says that he does not think any player is bigger than the club. And if Ozil continues to do that, I don't think it's worth continuing with him. I think he's on his last year as well.
No, he has one more year.
He's got 2 more years.
No,
I
no,
mean, this is his
one.
last year. I
This
said
is last year. Yeah,
one more year, right? So
yeah.
that the coming season will be his last. I think then he just got cords in. If it means taking hurt and paying him off, that's fine. But in the long run, if you cannot continue to have players who are going this lone ranger route, you cannot do it.
So tell me this: a club like us, who doesn't have the money, they're saying that we don't even have 50 million to spend in the summer to pay off Ozil, who's at 350K a week. Don't you think we'd have to like part with him by paying him like a 20-25 million?
No, I don't think so. I think his. I was just looking at random I was looking at transfer market yesterday, and transfer market rates him at about 15 million is what his market value is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know if they'll let go of him or cut him off. But he does need to be disciplined. Because you cannot act right now and think that you cannot act in such a manner anymore. It's done. Like Emery, I would still side with Ozil because I thought he was unfairly treated. And once he came back, you did see marked improvement. He did the same thing with Ramsey, so you sort of felt that it was Emery more than the players. But
But
Arteta is
some,
trying to do something. Like genuinely, I think Arteta is trying to build something. I don't know if he wants such people around anymore.
but something must have like gone wrong. Like maybe 24 hours before the game, because both those practice matches Ozil played, right? And the 10 games before COVID struck, Ozil played. So something
No, I
must
mean
have.
it could very easily be that, look, it could very easily be that we're taking too much into it, reading too much
Yeah,
into it. It could just be a tactical reason. He just didn't think he was
good
suited for
enough.
that game.
Yeah, yeah, it's possible.
Um, because Sterling and De Bruyne like ran us ragged yesterday. Let's be fair. Ozil is not Ozil a prime Ozil, yes, but De Bruyne is pretty much the best player in the league right now,
Yeah,
and has been for a couple of years. So to have that in a well-oiled unit like City, and to then pick one player because of tactical, is because you want to go in and not get a thrashing because you know Ozil doesn't historically doesn't do enough running or doesn't do whatever. Let's put that aside. But the point still remains that it could just very well be a tactical reason.
fair enough.
That still, even if that still doesn't give him the freedom to say what he did, to do what he did.
I see. I'm not going to look in too much into that picture. I know that picture was wrong for him to come out and point to the badge and say whatever happens, Arsenal. I know. It seems like Emery 2.0, but let's not get into too much about it. It could be his PR team uh, trying to spin things. You never know.
Which means he's being badly advised,
Badly
and if
advised. Yeah.
that is the cost, which means that you then cut, then either you discipline him or cut ties completely,
Yeah.
because he's too big of a character, and too, I think it's just negative influence now around the club.
Mm,
When you know Arteta is making a genuine effort to change things, and you don't want such people around
mm,
who have their own agenda around how things should be.
mm. Let's see, bro. I think the only thing that can really tell us anything is Saturday, and if whether Ozil makes that or doesn't make that over the 9 games
Yeah.
remaining, whether he plays or no, only time will tell. Quickly, then, before we wrap up, predictions for the game.
Oh, um, look, we have to turn up.
Are you going to
These
be
are the
your
games that we have
optimistic
to
self,
win.
or are you going to be a little pessimistic?
I'm never gonna go against Arsenal not winning, against against at least these clubs. But I don't think we lose on Saturday.
So, a draw.
Uh, I don't think we lose on Saturday.
Okay, I'm actually gonna be a little more optimistic because I feel I think the players will probably show that they come up with a reaction for the loss. They want to show Arteta that they can do better. So I'm actually going to be a little optimistic and say 2-1 to Arsenal. It's going to be a hard fought game. Let's not forget. Maybe we sneak one in the last 10 minutes or 5 minutes to go, but I have a feeling we could probably win this 2-1.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the show, guys. If you have anything to say, please put it down in the comments below. Again, like somebody mentioned at the start of the show, like, share, subscribe. Subscribe to our channel, The Arsenal Away, on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. See you guys next week after the game. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.